Busy?
I'm going to.
Just asking, what did you think of Loki? Did you end up watching episode 2?
No, I can't remember. No, I didn't.
Were you guys both sleeping?
I fell asleep. Yeah.
He was in the happy bubble. You don't do this. Any letters from him or anything like that?
No, no, there's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a time. Okay. All right, guys. I'll be back in 5 minutes. I'm doing a live stream. Stop. Okay. Where's the music? Okay. Now where's the mic? Okay, g'day guys. Now let me just quiet that down a bit. Hopefully, hi, hello guys. Thanks for joining. What I'm going to do today I was a bit disrupted yesterday from my PC playing up, so I've done a reboot and I haven't got much applications running. So anyway, long story short, I should get good performance on the charts, no delay. What I'll be covering is basically key structural formations, key levels, key lines. We're not in the trend, so we are in the trend on the macro level, which is a downtrend, but we can't really trade that. So what we're looking is for the short time, formation trading. So we look at formations, look for some key evidence to support that, and then we make trades, either accumulation or just short trades. So what I'll be doing is covering that perspective. Um, from a macro level, I've covered it a few times. I will just do another revise on the current scenario. As you can see on the chart right now, the RSI is supporting a bullish formation, and I'll give some evidence as to why it's bullish and what's likely to do at this point, and then look at opportunities with the other altcoins and do a total market recap analysis and Bitcoin dominance analysis. Look at a few other things, but pretty much covering a whole bunch of stuff, starting with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then the alts. So let's begin. Hopefully you can hear me clearly. So people are familiar with my charts. At this point, we can only trade with formations, right? What I want to do is just highlight to you what are the key aspects to this chart. So you can see on the right side, we did our Fibonacci on the weekly here, and you can see once I come close into it, that I've defined using the candlesticks and the body of the candlesticks where the weekly resistance and support is, and you can see right there. Let me just get some tools out. Right there. So I've got this tool, this pen. You can see this level here is a lot of on the body of the candlesticks is resistance and support. So we pretty much come to, with this candlestick, we've come to a resistance level, and on the left, it's pretty much this area here. Okay, so we're gonna get a bit potentially a pullback. If we were to get a move slightly above, then that's a really bullish sign, and then it's likely to continue on to the next micro. So we've got a lot of layers in there, and then we'll reassess. But at this point, I think it'll come down a bit, and what I think it'll do is look at the smaller time frame. Let's look at the small time frame. That's the daily. Let's go on the 4-hourly. I think this is the chart. I'll put that to a daily. That's not the one. So let's just go to another chart. That wasn't it. Is that it there? One more. Which one is it? Okay, here we go. So on my left, if I was to expand this, so you've noted that on the right, why we have this major level as resistance, and we've got the key fib levels as well. So it should come across onto the left. Now what I want to do is just get rid of that. Because we're dealing at the micro level at this point, you can see there's been a lot of formations going sideways, and at the end of the day, this bottom level was support. Okay, so this level was the last area of support, and what I'm looking at now is because this is the weekly resistance right here, this layer is the weekly resistance, and you can see there's a lot of in the past there's been a lot of support and resistance, so this layer is likely to struggle getting through. It could be a wedge like that potentially. I would be looking to looking for a pullback, and then potentially we have the 1, 2, 3 move Otherwise, it's going to potentially do a double top. But if we get this, so for this to be broken, you can see this apex. When we come down here, this is an apex. The concentration is in this area in terms of volume, and so that will act like a resistance as well, just from that this formation as well. So if you're brave enough, you can short it just to here, and if we were to apply the Fibonacci onto this layer, it's about the 0.382 level from the swing high to the swing low, and if we were to extend that, it'll be pretty much the 0.665 or 618 level, which is good enough as well. We just need to look at the candlesticks, how they behave at the moment. So it's not going to be easy to do that. At the moment, we've got these 4-hour candlesticks, and the more we look closer to it, we haven't got any indication that's going to be rejected, just this current one that's making it. So still looking good. So what we need to do is look at the candlesticks on the 4-hour, potentially on the small time frame, look at the formation that's taking place at that to assess if it's going to be a rejection. So right now it's too early to say anything, but you can see there is clear resistance, pretty much like this one here. And my guess is this red band, it could probably come to right there if it was to pull back. This area here. So this is potentially a good. So if you haven't entered, this is my suggestion, that you enter on this pullback to this level here, and because we can't, it's not a trend. This is not a trend on a small time frame. We have to trade with structure. So this was a bull flag, and that last pullback bounce, it's a typical move. So we've got the one bull flag. If this is gonna, it might, I'm not gonna guess, but I dare say that this if it does break that level, then definitely a rejection here, right? So I will short from there. If price was to get to that level, let's see, I would definitely short here, and I'll short down there. So it's about, what is that? About 5%. You can potentially get 5% out of that, and that's no different to moves from in the previous structure here. So from there, get that. So this is still ranging sideways, and therefore I would assume that there will be an initial rejection. If you bought in around here, I would not short it. I would just do, if you had a portfolio for HODL, I'll keep it. If you had a portfolio with small trades, then for cash, then I will definitely short it there and look for closing it off there, and that's about it. If you got that entry, if you're going to buy it here, I'll HODL from there, and if it goes up there, I'll use this as a short and close it off somewhere around there, and then see what information is given. This could be pretty much another wedge formation or a channel, so potentially another down and then up again, but we need to wait and see how that turns out. Just speculating at this point, and that's what we need to do. Just plan ahead with structure. We can't use a moving average. We can't use strategies that we did before along this level here. The strategies that we use on an uptrend like here is very different. This trend is very different to this. So we can't use the same strategies here when it comes to structure here. So it's much more difficult to trade here. This is where people would have lost a lot of money. And that's why I wasn't too active in there, except for the bottom levels. So buy at the bottom, potentially buy at these, sell at these key resistance points. So that's my next level up there. And we might be here for another, mid-August, somewhere around, somewhere around there, mid-August. Still trying to work out what this formation is going to do. I do believe this is the bottom, and I can cover that as well as to why. It is like a triangle in lower time frames. Yeah. So that's my assessment at this point. Wait for pullback. Anytime you're going to do it, wait for pullback to buy in. Now, if we look at this small time frame, see if it's going to give us anything. Let's have a look at the 5-minute. So is it giving us any structure? Well, it's similar to that, isn't it? So if we look at that, it is giving us a bit of a bullish sign. Let's see how that goes. But I think it's working towards something good. Let's see what the indicators show. I've got the wrong indicators here. They're not going to help. I might just jump to another chart and let's see if I got any other indicators here. No indicators here. Okay, we have here. Let's see what happens on the small time frame. Okay, so on the small time, this is the hourly chart. We can see the MACD does a crossover. This is what you need to look for, something similar. So at the moment, on the 1 hour, you can see the MACD is going downwards, and we have this as well. So I would look for the 1 hour chart using the RSI. So here we had an RSI. There was a hidden bullish divergence. All right, and similarly here, we have another one in progress. Let's see how we're going, just to see if it's going to go up. So I'll just put something similar down there. At this point, it's just let it go. Let's see how the MACD is going to. I would look for the MACD crossover. So as this goes up, so you see how this coming down. As it comes towards a key level, if you see the crossover and you see something similar to this in the making, just say this plays out. I don't know how much it's going to do. Maybe it'll come down to this level as well. And then you see a break. If there's a formation similar to this, these lines here, if you see a break towards that line and you see a bullish candle in the making as well, like that one there, then it's a point of jumping in. So at this point, it's too early to jump in. Okay, so what we have on the 1 hour is a bit of a trend, 1 hour trend, but it's not the best trend in terms of one of my strategies. This one is pretty much going sideways on a few times, so it is difficult. It is difficult to trade, and as you can see, all these little formations you got to keep an eye on. At this moment, this looks like to me, it looks like an expanding wedge, and chances are that it's going to be could be bearish. So if this goes up to here, potentially drop down, because that is our weekly resistance level. So this broadening wedge is usually a bearish sign. So keep an eye on it. But that's what I'll be looking at on the 1 hour. Small time frames aren't going to help. What we see is with the stochastic RSI, it's coming down, and what we want to do is see something similar to this, a bit of a bounce. And so in conjunction with what I said here, if you see something like that, it's eventually going to move up and break that weekly resistance. So still got a bit of work to do in that terms. Osaka, I understand that. So I won't go to the 5 minutes. I'll be working on the 1 hour. Everyone's got their own strategy, so I'll be looking at that. In the meantime, you can see that this is come up a fair way, and that weekly resistance, as I said last time, is playing up. So this week, if it closes above it, it's actually a real good sign. So if we to close this candle above this weekly resistance, anywhere around here, that is actually a nice sign that this could continue on the upside. If it closes on the weekly like this, it's indecisive, and then we've got to wait again. I would dare say that's what a lot of institutions will be looking at, or people who do on daily trading. Let's see. Yep. So that's pretty much at the moment indecisive. That's a daily candle. So we've still got another 21 hours for this one, and anyway, there might be that. So this is a real good move. You can see how many candles in a row. If you do the TD sequence, I'm not into that, but if it was to get rejected, I would say that this trend line is definitely a strong support, because it's been tested so many times. It's been given us, this trend line is definitely something that I would be looking to buy if it comes down around there. Might be just the momentum you need, a pullback, A, B, and C. So that's why I'm looking at this not to be easily passed. Okay, so that's all I can do at the moment for Bitcoin, and we need to just see what happens here. But I do believe that I'm hopeful that this if it doesn't break it, we might just still stay here for a while. So if we got this level, we might just, if it doesn't break it, then we might just get another on the, what is it, on the daily? Is it daily? Yep. We haven't changed a trend on the daily. So what we want to see is a change in trend on the daily. At the moment, the 4 hour is pretty much changed. It's pretty much equated. So this is, so if this is a high, so we've got lower highs, and this is going to equal that. So if we just get above it, then we break that trend on the daily, which is fantastic. So that will be a bullish sign. So this is the key area that we want to pass. For those who want a bit more confirmation, I would wait for this. Wait for this to be broken, to be passed, and then definitely another entry point. So if it goes up, it's going to find resistance somewhere around there, and then buy on that level. So whenever we look for confirmation, we want to see decisiveness. So if this is a resistance level, and historically we've been bouncing around, and then we touch, and then we have a decisive break above that main resistance level, which is our weekly here, then you look for the pullback, and it's likely to hold and then up. I don't think this is a fake out. It can be a fake out, but I don't think it is. And the problem is, like I said in the past, any formations in this area are really unreliable, and it's just the nature of it. Anything within a sideways range, formations sometimes are reliable, sometimes they're not, and you got to be prepared to have your stop limits tight. So that's another point I would make out. Okay, so I think we've covered that enough. From a weekly perspective, I'll just show you one or two things that gives me confidence that we're on the right track. All right, so let's look on the daily. I think the daily is a good one. How we're tracking. Okay, let's do this. Let's find the right chart that I've done some work on. Okay, here we go. All right. Now, if you look at this chart, just using a few indicators, I'll get rid of these moving averages. They don't help. Not interested in those. Okay, so what we got this RSI band, this was resistance all the way through, and we've broken it. Very key to me. That's very important. In addition, we've broken the 50% range. Yeah, so 50% is a change in trend on the daily. So that if there's one thing of using RSI, people say it's overbought, yep, or oversold. But the other thing is the 50% range is usually a change in trend. So if you use this, it can tell you that the trend has been broken once, and it's likely, even if it goes below, it's likely to break it again. The other aspect is, if you look at it historically, this line right here with the NVT indicator, you can see there's a lot of support, and this was acting as resistance, and we've broken it as well. So this bottom, that's a bottom formation as well. So we've broken that key level as well. And if you look at historically, every time we break this red line, we had uptrend. Even here, we break that level, we had an uptrend. So we just broken that as well. So that is another reason to be bullish. On top of that, might confirm that this formation is a wedge. Oops, that's not the best drawing, but that might just support why this is a breakout on this wedge as well. So if you look at it there, you got consistent resistance lines, and we've broken that as well. So this was my bottom area, and it didn't go as low as I thought it might. So I had a few orders around there. I didn't get to fill the others. I was hoping I might catch a 1 or 2 weeks, but that didn't happen. So I've got a small order in there with leverage. Obviously, I'm hodling from all these other ones here. So I did trade this well this time around. I'm pretty happy with that. And it can potentially just move on and so on. If there's resistance along the way, I think this is a bottom formation. It might hit there, come back down, and then up it goes. So what we have is probably an Adam and Eve type of formation. Who knows? I'm not sure what that formation is yet. A cup and handle, but we had similar formations, reversal formations here. So if you look at those ones, we didn't have the bounce as high as that one did, but you can see once it gets a bounce, it gets a rejection, and then looks for the bottom again, and so on. So the psychology is there. The psychology is there. It's been tested once, twice, 3 times there, and here we pretty much tested once, twice, and we might get one more lower there, which is the entry point. And if we look at the trend line, there's a key trend line I've put there. It's been a while since I've figured out where I got it from, but this trend line, resistance, resistance, support, and support. So that trend line, and here a bounce as well. So this trend line, to me, is coming into play as well at this point anyway. So it might just go up above this area. We might find resistance there, and we might just touch it once more, and when we get that third touch, if it comes down to this level, I would say it will go down. All right, so if it comes down once more into this gray area, we're gone, we're finished. It's going to break down for sure. So we don't want to see that. We want to see this probably get a rejection up to this level, come down, maybe touch this trend line, and then up it goes again. If we see a decisive break from there, then it's going to be more aggressive. So those are my thoughts at the moment. Is it possible that the trend changes without enough volume? Yeah, the volume, in terms of volume, we don't capture it. All we do is capture volume based on this exchange. So we either have US dollars or we have US tether. And so the volume profile here is not good enough. What we need to do is go to Glassnode, which captures or a similar service providers who capture the volume across the board. So that's where you got visibility, and that's where on-chain information is very good. So Glassnode, have view charts, on-chain data. So they go across a mini, I don't know how they get it, but that's their specialty. And there'll be volume profiles in there. I'm not sure where it is, but have a look. If you can't get it, there's a volume there. Hold on. So we've got some volume profiles here across all exchanges. So you need to look at this. And so this one here, exchange net positive change. So I'm not sure if this is, yep, this is volume based. I think it is. So you can see, let's go back again. Initial inflow, total. So there's these tools, outflow, net volume flow. This is where you get your volume profiles, not from the exchange. And at this point, this is, what is this one? This one's on the daily resolution. Okay. So I'm not going to spend time on that, but that's where you can find out proper volume. Okay. Now let's go back. Let's look at Bitcoin right now. Still looking strong though, if I look at it. Yeah, the volume drops on this, the volume on this one, this is Bitstamp. So this is the volume you see on Bitstamp with US dollars. It doesn't factor in Tether. So I've had my strategy is not to use these volumes at all. You need something else. Anyway, so let's get back to where we are. So that's pretty much my summary on Bitcoin and what I'm looking for in the short time. Let's go to Ethereum. Let's see Ethereum. Okay, so similar in perspective. I got a few channels. I see this level as a key level based on Fibonacci. I see this structure. Pretty much what we have is just a breakout from that structure. If we remove the log, you can have one perspective. You put the log in, you have another perspective. And to me, this is the area that I see confluence with this trend. And we have a breakout from that formation. So that's another bullish move. But you can see here along this line, we have resistance. So Ethereum is going to find a fair bit of resistance there and potentially come down. And this might be a layer that it's probably good to buy and go through. Otherwise, wait for the confirmation of breakout and then buy in. So that's my quick summary on Ethereum. Okay, let's see what other charts I have on Ethereum. So in a small time period, this is what I got. That's the band, the resistance band. So similar to Bitcoin, what I've done. Let's see, where are we? So if we put the weekly, so this is our weekly chart. As you can see, I've placed my weekly based on the body of the candlesticks. I've defined where's my weekly support, monthly, even the monthly is there. That's the monthly resistance there, and so on. So when I go to the daily, you can see how it comes into play. So this red one is the monthly resistance, and also the weekly resistance. So, and then we've got the Fibonacci levels as well. So if we've got too many things in confluence, this red band is pretty much a strong resistance. And if Bitcoin was to go above where it's supposed to, I'll still see a rejection at this level here on the 382. From the 0.5, this level here will be a strong rejection. And this is the area that I'll be looking to buy. I even got the volume profile here. So the VP, most concentrated volume profile, is there. So we've broken above it, and we've broken this key level, or this trend line, strong resistance. So if we do get a rejection around this area, it's good to look for a buy-in. And I would say this area here, this bugger here, I think that's a good spot to buy if you haven't bought in already. Let's see if that makes sense. step. So we've got the daily and we've got the weekly support here. So we've broken the weekly resistance, this area, and the volume profile. So the volume profile was based on this fixed range. So if I put the fixed range, see, this is the concentration over there. This red line here, and the other one was down here. So okay, so my red line is this. If we go below this level, I can't remember where I had it there, but so let's see. Let's get this volume profile. Interesting. Oh, that was it there. You can see if I was to remove that, you can see where the volume profile right there actually on the 618. So that's where I would see, and you can see here where there was support on the way down. It was support and then breakthrough. So makes sense that as we break above this resistance band, if it was to pull back, that's a good spot to buy to go up. So this area is acting as resistance. If we get a pullback, we have this A, B, C move again, and all good. Double bottom. So we've got the W formation. 1, 2, 3. This is a perfect Ethereum. Ethereum is looking much better than Bitcoin at this point. That's my opinion. Just from that structure perspective. Please, could you please watch this tool volume profile? Ah, okay. It's go to volume, fix volume, and then you just put your range. So what you need to do is also look at, because there's many things. So I'll give an example. Well, I'll do a quick one. Volume profile here to there. It gives you the concentration of volume for this structure, and that was around there. So you can see how that came into play. So if I was to do that, you can see how that became support right there. Perfect. So this was concentrated accumulation, and you can see how it acted as a means for support. So depending on people how they do it, but that's, you use Fibonacci and you use volume profile, and if they have confluence, it gives you a good business case to buy. Okay, so let's move on. So that's my thoughts for Ethereum at the moment. If you haven't bought at the bottom, look for a resistance somewhere, a pullback, pretty much like this one here, and then look for buying in this area here. So it's looking, Ethereum's looking good. So what does it suggest? Maybe alts are going to perform a bit better. So we'll have a look at. Actually, I didn't talk about this either. This structure. So this is my A, B, C, D, E, and it's pretty much, if I can draw good, this is my triangle formation, Elliott wave in the formation on the macro, and we got this breakout. So if it was to play out, I would say that this is the height. I'll get that height and I'll apply it here, and that's pretty much the target for Ethereum right there, which it makes sense. So if this was to continue on, I would say that is 3,200 is the main target, and it will take a while to get there, but I think that's what it's doing. Okay, Bitcoin's got something similar as well. I didn't cover that, but that's what I'm seeing on the charts at the moment with a formation. Okay, let's see. Now let's look at other coins now. I think we've done that. Actually, one thing. Let me look at total market cap and look at Bitcoin dominance before we move on to the alts. just a quick review. You can see here, this is the CME gap. Many people were talking about it before. We might get that after the bull run. Yeah. So I don't think it's going to come down to this level. It's possible, but I don't think it is at this point. We're still ranging, so who knows what's going to take place. We might eventually come down to fill this gap and then up. This is the other range as well. So if I'm looking bearish, this is what I'm looking at. It's going to be very unlikely it'll come down to this level. The CME gap is, and I've gone through this in the past streaming, that this is an excellent spot to buy based on Fibonacci and a few other things. So looking at the bearish case, if we were to break down further, once we get to a certain point, this is what I'm looking at. Okay, so now let's go back to Bitcoin dominance. All right, let's chuck in the RSI. Let's put that in there. Definitely, Bitcoin dominance has got the momentum to its upside based on this. So this is a daily. Yeah, so Bitcoin dominance is going up, and I'll explain why. So at this moment, this does look like a reversal pattern. So we've got to keep an eye on this. We note that the 50% level is there, so on the RSI, so everything is above in favor of Bitcoin at the moment. If we do generalize, okay, but ever so close. So it's broken above the 50, and it might come down a bit again, but once it breaks it, it's more likely to, and this might be representing this formation as well. So it might just go to the upside. This at the moment is, I like to see this higher before I can make a conclusion. At this point, I got only this formation as my guide. This RSI pretty much reflects the formation, and this Phoenix one hasn't really given me much, except that it's just more on the upside than the downside with Bitcoin. So I'll be using that as a gauge from day to day to know when to flip. At this point, there's no means. It's still going sideways. For all you know, it could be just going sideways like this as well. So we have to wait and see. At this point, this formation is giving us potentially a break to the upside. Okay, but it could easily go down as well. So the alts might, if Bitcoin was to break that key level, I think the alts will also rally, and then will go downwards like this. Yep, and probably do another test. So that's my perspective for Bitcoin dominance at the moment. Total market cap, let's see where that is. Okay. And total market cap's gone up above 50% as well. So that's, you can see here, it's done a 1, 2, and then up. So that's a nice sign. And similar to Bitcoin, let's see. No, it hasn't. Yes, it has. Do we use that? It's 2 levels. So if we use that, it hasn't. But if we use this point to that point, no, it hasn't yet. Not yet. So total market cap hasn't broken that key resistance. It's broken the 50% level, but it hasn't broken that key level. So the total market cap is still looking to break to the upside. That will give us a good indication that money is going to start pouring back in. At the moment, money isn't. And if you look at this chart, we had obviously indecision, but there was a breakdown. This does look like a bottom formation, so that's looking positive. very similar to Bitcoin. And wrong line. If we were to use that, very similar to Ethereum. If we were to do that, yeah, I'll wait to see. That would be a nice bullish sign if we break this trend line. Yeah, right there. It's very ever so close, isn't it? If that's accurate enough. But the RSI is telling me that we haven't broken it. So that's the total market cap. And yeah, it's holding pretty well. And if we were to use the Fibonacci on this, I would think that would be the case as well. So let's see from here. Yep, so the 382s become support. This is the main resistance level. So if we were to see price total market cap go above this fib level, and definitely that will be a bullish sign for the next bull run or the next phase. From an Elliott wave perspective, we've talked about this a few times. Many people, seasoned traders, think that's a 1, 2, 3, potentially that's potentially 4, or 4 could go down there, and then we've got the 5. So at this point, I'm leaning towards 4, but 4 could be down here as well. There, unlikely, maybe, but I'm comfortable with this at the moment, with the total market cap, Elliott wave, and so on. Cool. Any more questions? No questions. All right. Let's move to the alts. So I'm just going to give my opinion on a few alts. All right, let's see. Actually, we haven't done Ethereum, Bitcoin. Okay, so with Ethereum, Bitcoin pairing, this is my chart. We have this major resistance trend line. So this trend line is acting as support at this point, and you can see it previously. So we're seeing this triangle. If it breaks below it, then it's probably a bear market as well. At this point, I'm looking for Ethereum to break this 0.382 level. So if it breaks this 382 level along here, I'll be confident to flip to Ethereum. It might just do a bounce and then up. So that's what I'm looking for, the pairing perspective. Let's look on the daily. Oh, that is the daily. Let's look on the 4-hour. So it's finding resistance there. We do from swing low to swing high. Come on. Swing low to swing high. I might have to do this one here. Yeah, so okay, 0.382 potentially be the resistance. Looks like it's finding support on the 0.5 or this band. Yeah, so if I think it's too early to flip, although this would have been a good buy really. That area that would have gained heaps there, wouldn't you? So I stuffed that one up. It would have been a 10% move to buy flip to Ethereum at the time. Okay, so looking at that on the 4-hour, it does look like it's going to come back down. Yeah, so I think that it's going to drop based on this RSI and based on these indicators. I think Ethereum is going to lose against Bitcoin. And this is the 4-hour, and you look at the candlesticks, and it's probably along the lines of this reverse structure. So yeah, I do see potentially just finding resistance along this and then dropping back down here. This might be a good spot too, and flip. I would say this range here, somewhere here, I'll be looking for to come back to Ethereum and if I see a bullish reversal candles, you know, a big bullish candle in the 4 hour, I'll be looking to flip to Ethereum. Struggling for, what's struggling for me? Okay, 4 hours, yeah, it is. So that's what I have. Let's look at Link. Link. Also, I have this straight line there that seems to be acting as resistance. We've got the volume profile acting as resistance here as well. So this definitely, and you can see all the candles there. So this is a close immediate resistance level. This could be a wedge, just a bit of a breakdown. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to still hold on to my Link. If Link comes back down to here, I'll definitely buy, depending on what Bitcoin does at the time. And then we'll get this double bottom formation. It might not come down that far. So if we use the formations, so if we look at the, let me try and find that line. Is that the one? Like that. If we get rid of that, you can see pretty much it's a descending wedge. We have this breakout. No matter how much, even if you look at the bigger structure or the smaller structure, it is a breakout, but it's a first bounce at this level. So we might just see another, so that's the lower low. We might just see a one more lower high, higher low, sorry. So if we get a higher low here, then we got that W formation, and if you want to be patient, wait for that to break out from that level. This seems to me an accumulation area. Okay, so look for the dips. If you haven't bought it there, look for the next pullback, and then buy in, and continue on. So that's my perspective on the Link, and you can see based on the daily, the Fibonacci levels and so on. It does fit perfectly into it as support. These lines are all lined up, so we're in this range for Link, and we could be here for some time. So that, from a Link's perspective, we might be here for a while with the market. Let's go to Dot. Dot is much more bearish, but if you look at this chart with the Fibonacci levels, and the reason why I put these lines here is it does bring the case where when it dropped, it came down to this 0.5 level, found resistance at the next fib level, found support on this fib level, like around there, and then found support on that fib level, and then the next fib level. So these fib levels seem to be very aligned with support and resistance for Dot. And then we have this potential descending wedge. We had this slight breakout there. So I'm looking at Dot as this area is accumulation. So if Dot was to come back down, I would look to buy in again. I haven't bought in actually. I didn't buy Dot. So, but now I've got this information. If it was to come down here, I'll be looking to buy, depending on what Bitcoin and the rest do. But this is pretty much what I'm thinking to do. In Elliott Wave 4 is always struggling. Yeah. So with Elliott Wave, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is what I learned. 3 to 4 is complex. Always complex. It does a lot of crap, and it shakes everyone out. 3 to 4. From 1 to 2, it's usually clear. Bit of complexity there. 2 to 3 is where the big money is, right? We know that. But 3 to 4 is always difficult. It's always difficult, and if you're the brave, you can leverage, and then once you get that breakout, you're sweet. But the thing is, the hard work is here, and the brave. So this 3 to 4 is always, to me, with crypto, is always complex. and so because you got the layers, right? So here we have 1, 2, 3. So it does seem to me we've got the 1, 2, 3 pretty much done. So from there 1, 2, 3. So what am I doing? Let's get rid of that. Or click away. Yep. So actually this can't pass. It can drop. It can still drop down to there from an alleyway perspective. But yeah. Anyway, that's another discussion. So that's my perspective at this point with DOT. There was plenty of opportunity to get out of this. You can see this is a warning wedge, and we break down, and that's where you had to get out. This was DOT didn't perform as good as I thought it would, but still, I suppose in terms of percentage, it's a lot. Let's have a look. From there to there, yeah, 1,000%. That's still pretty good, isn't it? Anyway, so EGLD. This is my chart. This did very well from there to there, 3,000%. I wish I bought it down there and held it. So you can see this accumulation. That was a right. Who was to know? Yeah, it's something I just recently learnt about these formations. But anyway, right here now, what do I have? What is this? Okay. So this is my range for the bottom accumulation. So we had this is so I suppose a breakdown into the bottom formation. Now we have this potential triangle. So we have A, B, C, D, potentially something like that. So right now at the moment it's finding resistance. If I was to put on the daily, that is the daily resistance there. So right here, this band is daily resistance on the 302 Fibonacci. Along the line, along there, it's pretty much evident. Let's have a look. And I'll just freeze it so you guys can have a look. You can see how price came down, found support, tried to hold, and then dropped. So this area historically has shown that it is acting as support, and therefore you can see this wick here ever so slightly. When price went up, it got rejected, that wick there. So right now, I do see this coming. If it was to go move up a bit more, it will come back down. But you got this daily resistance as well. So this is acting as resistance at the moment because that wick. So I think this is going to probably range a bit. And I would wait. If this was to come down, that'll be a nice area to buy. But yeah, at this point, I think this is the perfect spot to buy on the 0.5 between these two buggers here. 0.5 here, 0.5 there. So the macro and then a smaller swing high, swing low fib levels. So that's what I think at that moment. That purple range is what I'll be interested in. It's done a decisive break, hit the resistance band, and it could pull back a bit deeper. But let's have it could pull back even more to there. But I find that well, it has it in the past, hasn't it? It's dropped pretty quickly. So it drops very quick and rises very quick. So this is a quick rise, and probably it might just drop down to this level here, and I will look for what is it on the 4 hour? Let's say on the 4 hour. Yeah, so it is struggling. It's trying to hold there, so I'll be looking here definitely, just similar to that. So pull hits that level, pulls back, finds accumulation. So right there is a perfect spot. Yeah, that's what I think of. EGLD, KSM. KSM's not doing as well. Kusama or Kusamu, whatever it was. It done well in the past. So you can see how the slope went parabolic. And then the breakdown, whoops, I didn't want to do that. So right now so we had 3 breakdowns. So we had this 1, 2, 3. So I'm looking for potentially something like that. And we've got our A, B, C, D, E. E's around there potentially. But this level here will be an interesting spot to buy. I do think that they'll get a resistance. So this level here is a concentration, maybe up to this point here. So this 0.5 is likely to be resistance if it was to keep going up. Yeah, so if it was to break out of this type of formation, we have that, and it might do that resistance there at this 0.32, pull back, and maybe pull deep enough, and then up it goes. So right now, I will hold back Kusama. Luna is very, very aggressive. It's moving strong. So we had this formation, and it just broke. So yeah, so you can say it's pretty much like that. It's done its breakout, very strong move to the upside, found resistance basically from historical resistance band all the way along. So this is a major resistance, it's the daily resistance as well. Not sure, and it's also the Fibonacci resistance, close to Fibonacci as well. So ever so, let's see, yeah, right from the bottom. Maybe if we do it there, that might be the reference point. Yeah, that looks like a reference point. So that Fibonacci is acting as resistance. So we have our, if that's our A, B, C, D, I'm looking for a pullback to this maybe to this trend line as well. And this red box area is where I'm looking for potential entry to go to the upside, because we've got those 2 lines so far, pretty much clear resistance. Second touch, third touch, maybe even the 4th touch, a breakout. So that's Luna for me from a bullish perspective. If it was to break that trend line, then it's down. So at the moment, most of the things I'm covering is bullish, and from week to week, we'll reassess. So here I've got the weekly supports and resistance for Solaris, and the fib levels pretty much have an agreement. So this Solaris is holding up really well, and so this band, if it was to come back down once more like this, I would think it will break down to this level here. Just giving you the bearish perspective. But at this point, I see finding resistance on this weekly resist area, and then pulling back, and then potentially going up to one of these, to these levels here, and then pull back again, and then potentially go up like that, or maybe more bullish depending on what Bitcoin does. So at this point, it's got that it's got the free what do you call it, the waves. So we have ever so clearly 1, 2, 3. I don't think it will come back down here, and then up. And if it was to break down If it was to break that level, it's definitely going to be bearish. The fourth touch, that is too much to me in my mind, and then will drop down. So got to keep an eye on this. This weekly support level, it's broken it. It should act as support, and the last line is somewhere around here. If it breaks down there, then it's likely that Bitcoin and all the rest are dropping as well. Let's look at ADA. I didn't add ADA here. Okay, I haven't touched this for ages, and sure enough, it's found support on this 618 level. I got those trend lines, main resistance, as you can see. So ADA's playing out right. It's a bit more, when it dumps hard, doesn't it? So this is the support level. I don't think it would, that was so you got one or two capitulations, and so if it holds this level, we'll find that main resistance. That is definitely going to be a main resistance, and so on. So I got that formation from a bullish perspective. This formation is what we're looking at, and we'll probably the alts aren't coming back yet anytime soon. So I would not jump into the alts any time. You can be patient until we get confirmation that Bitcoin's going to be bullish. I will hold off accumulating a lot of alts before going with Bitcoin. But that's all I got, guys. I think that's how long I've been online. Let's see. It is a Sunday, so I'm sure a lot of people won't be looking at the charts, but I have. An hour ago. So it's spent about an hour. We've covered a fair bit, and I'll leave it at that. Any questions? Let me know. Let me see the YouTube channel, so I haven't been looking there. Any questions on YouTube? No. Only two watching there, so there's nothing there, no questions there. And I think I'm done, guys, unless you've got anything else to add. High level, just let me reiterate, this trading is based on formation, not trends. We don't have a trend. We have sideways, and the sideways is always hard to trade. Any sideways ranging. So what we're looking at is small formations in and out, and looking for the dips for accumulation. All right, so glad to help. Have a good weekend. Have a good Sunday. I'm going to watch my MMA. Hopefully soon. Maybe it's on now. I might have missed it. And then enjoy the rest of the day. Cheers. Talk to you soon.